All right. So I watched a video a day or two ago. It was a BLM protester. I believe she was the leader or something like that. But she was saying that looting is reparations. Looting is reparations. So I was thinking about that. I said, I need to make a video on that. Now, obviously, looting is not reparations. You know, breaking into businesses, taking what's not yours without paying for it, legally, things of that sort. I mean, that's a crime. But what it made me think about was maybe the issue is a lack of wealth. So looting is not reparations, but I would say looting for those particular people is a lack of wealth. So everybody knows in America there's a racial wealth gap. I'm not using this as any excuse, but it's just data. So there's a racial wealth gap, and what I find interesting is that a lot of these inner city places, they're in areas that are like big on capital, New York City, LA, places like that, Chicago. But I think what's going on is that looting is just with everything with the protests and everything that's going on. Looting is just something that I think they're doing it more now because it's a cover up. Let the protesters get out front, do their thing. We're gonna use this opportunity to go loot, take what's not ours, and run off with it. And they're also, now saying that okay, well, since reparations is not gonna be given to us, we got little hope of reparations. By us to justify that, they're saying, well, by us taking this stuff, this is our reparations because the government would not give you reparations. Now, I made a comment on CNBC video they posted a couple of days ago. Their video was titled, "Can the U.S. afford reparations?" I made a comment, I said, the closest the U.S. would ever get to reparations is going to be the CARES Act, which was back in late March. Now, the CARES Act, of course, that was for all Americans, but it's somewhat similar though, because as far as the amount of money that if the U.S. could afford reparations, or if it were to pay reparations, it would be closer to that amount, that $3 trillion stimulus package that was passed back in late March. If that was the case, so I use that as an example. But so I think that's what's going on. It's more of it's a racial wealth gap, but it's more of not reparations, but it's a lack of wealth. The reason why that stuff is occurring, they're just saying reparations just to make it seem like okay, it's a black issue, but a black wealth issue would be more of the source. And like I said, taking what's not yours without paying or legally doing something the right way is criminal and it's wrong. But I do know a lot of black families, especially inner city blacks, that they lack a lot of resources, which means they lack a lot of wealth, either low income households, single parent households, low paying jobs, all of these things. So I think what you see now is that with all the black unity and the black talks and stuff like that, all that kind of stuff. They're just using this now to say, well, since the government won't give us reparations, we're just gonna take because we feel like this is gonna make up for that. The lack of the government intervening on passing reparations. The people are saying, well, let's just take the power in our own hands and let's make our own reparations, which is never good. It's not the right thing to do. But yeah, I just thought I'd make a video on that because I study that kind of data. Even now, this book here that I'm reading, The Color of Money, Black Banks, and the Racial Wealth Gap. It's a great book, but I read and I study things of that topic. So when I actually see these kind of things, I kind of know, what's going on or what's the source behind it. And like I said, there's a lot of poor blacks that don't, they don't have everything, but they're good people. They're not committing crime or looting. But I just thought I'll share that because even with here it is, I have the data here. So with the median household net worth of a black family is $1,700. Median household of a white family is $150,000. So, and like I said, you can trace all this stuff back to the United States history of redlining, blocking wealth for black Americans, even all the way back to slavery, which is built off of capitalism. You can go all the way back through history. So what you see today is a result of that. I'm not speaking about the reparations right now, but I'm speaking about the wealth gap. So I think, the lack of wealth, I think, is what's causing people. I don't know if this is true or not, but it could be true, but I actually think that the lack of wealth with a lot of people cause them to commit crime and do things that people that with wealth wouldn't do. Just something I'm thinking about now. So let's just say that if black Americans had wealth, would crime be what it is? Would looting exist? Now, I'm still not saying this is any excuse. I'm just talking now. But those kind of things, I guess it's something to consider. But like I said, there's no excuse for it. But it's not about reparations. It's really about the lack of wealth. So the lack of wealth is gonna make you feel inadequate. Your needs not being met. So that's why I preach so much about generational wealth, because you have to start somewhere. You can't look at the past. You can look at the past, but you can't. You got to start today. Where you're at, and build wealth. Even if it's for your children or the next generation, you have to start where you're at and start building it. And I mean, not all white people are rich either. There's a lot of poor whites. Every race has a poor group or whatever. But blacks are largely more wealth-less than any other group. Like I said, there's data to show that, but you got to start somewhere. I mean, trying to, right or wrong with a wrong, I mean, it ain't gonna, it's not gonna amount to anything. But that's why I preach so much about generational wealth, because let's just say, even if you, the parent or whatever, don't, see the fruits of that labor in your lifetime, you can see it grow, and you should feel good knowing that, okay, your, descendant or your offspring or your child or whatever would benefit off of that just by you doing the work now. But I think what's going on now is a lot of people, they want to wear that wealth, nice clothes, nice shoes, and those it's not even an asset or anything. It just makes you feel good. Sometimes feeling good or looking good, it can, blind you to the real fact that you really have no wealth. So, like I said, you got to start somewhere where you're at today. Start building that for the future generation. And it has to be a practice, and they will have the kids or whatever, the offspring will have to continue that. But just starting now and just saying, well, let's just take what we can take. That's not the answer. Looting is not reparations. But the lack of wealth is the cause of your pain. So start where you're at today, build a wealth. It's going to take time, but over time, the wealth will increase. and it can close the racial wealth gap already.